Welcome to episode 10 of Squats and Seances. Today's guest is Pam Rivers. You may remember her from episode 2, Mycelium Mine, that was released in July. In case you missed that one, you should definitely go back and listen. It was mind-opening. For those just meeting Pam for the first time, allow me to introduce her. She is a seasoned therapist, transformation guide, and psychedelic facilitator, blending over 35 years of therapeutic experience with plant medicine. Pam specializes in guiding people through the process of learning to tune into themselves and listen, allowing the individual to step into their power, beauty, and wisdom, aligning their inner world with their outer world. Welcome back, Pam.
Hey there, Lisa.
Hi. I am thrilled to have you back on Squats and Seances for another chat. There is so much that I am excited to talk about today. So let's get right into it.
Yep.
How are you and what have you been up to since we last chatted in July?
Today I am really good, very excited about this. It's my life is wild. That's the best way to describe it. And things just keep unfolding and coming towards me, and me stepping into them this week, as you know, it's been a strange week for me. And I'm feeling really good today, which is good because I've been a little kind of under the weather, good reasons. And
Yeah.
I'm good. I'm good.
Okay. Oh, it's so good to see your face, as always. I recently had the pleasure of meeting up with Pam. She was in town. And we have a special little tradition that we do whenever you're in town. We live in separate states for any listeners that have been following since the beginning. Interestingly enough, our tradition has always aligned with the new moon, which is
Wild.
That's synchronicity, right? Once darkness has settled over Santa Cruz, we walk down to the ocean, we strip down naked, and we take a plunge. It's inky blackness under the stars, no moon. I am always super anxious and very excited beforehand, and then surprisingly calm and anchored afterwards. This experience has become something that's pretty special to me. And it's something that I absolutely won't do without Pam. It's almost a spiritual cleansing ritual I've come to discover. So I bring something that's on my heart and I leave it in the sea. Pam and I have often talked of feeling a special pull towards the mythical creatures of mermaids. And for me, I think my fascination is in the fantasy of a creature that is so connected to Mother Earth, aligned with the power of the ocean, aligned with the aquatic wildlife, living in a way that is physically impossible for oxygen requiring mammal that does not exist in the sea. So for me, the ocean is this powerful, magical, energetic body. I think for thousands of years, humans have been obsessed with it. I guess it's natural that when I do this is always when I feel like this connection is strongest. So that's sharing what it means to me. Pam, I would love for you to speak on what does this tradition mean for you specifically?
I love it. I grew up in Southern California and grew up on the beach. And so I feel such connection there. And I know you do too. I know you and I share that, and the mermaid connection. And it's the sea it always draws me. It always pulls me. It has always been powerful for me, even when I was a little girl. And I love to go skinny dipping in the ocean at night by myself with Vanessa.
Pam is badass, okay? She will do this on her own.
I love
No one around, strange countries, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. We're going to talk about that.
I love it. I love it. And it does something to us. And like you and I, it's so funny. I start to get giggly now a little bit. Like it brings something very young out in us. And like, the first time that we did it,
Okay,
like we were dying laughing. And
do you want to share the story or do you want me to tell it?
Vanessa, you tell it. I want to hear your
Okay.
And then I'll pipe in.
I was so excited to do this the first time and so nervous for a number of reasons. Okay, it's dark. Somehow I think I'm going to get swept out to sea. Some after dark shark is going to eat me, or I don't know, hypothermia. I mean, a million reasons. Oh, I'm going to get arrested because it's
Yeah.
obviously not legal what we're doing. And I had just met Pam, maybe even less than 24 hours.
Yeah.
And she was like, let's do this. I surprised myself by saying yes. Then I thought, oh shit, I have to actually do this. So we get down there and we strip down. Pam's amazing. She's already sourced out the perfect place.
I got the spot.
She's got the spot.
got
I mean,
the
this
spot.
woman knows it. She's done this before.
Yeah.
I feel very safe despite my rising anxiety. I'm like, I can do this. I can do this. This is going to be really good, Vanessa. Get outside of your comfort zone. And we do it. And we go in the first time. And I'm like,
But shore breakers, remember
Yeah.
the shore breakers? It was a little bit hard to get in. We had to time it because the waves were not small and they were the shore breakers.
Yes, there was definitely a significant shore break that day. So we go in the first time and the water's cold, but it's not as cold as I thought it would be. It washes over me and I'm
Like February, wasn't it?
April, I think.
April? Okay.
Yeah, it was April. So, but still, that's legit springtime here. And then we go in a second time and I'm starting to feel a little bit more of like powerful, like, yeah, I got this. I'm feeling better. Then Pam looks at me and she's like, we need to go in a third time. And I was like, yeah. And I charged. I ran my naked ass into the water and I jumped, but not like jumped up. Like I jumped like diving, arms out. And it was just as the shore break pulled back and I belly flopped completely naked on my stomach. Then the wave broke over me.
It's really not funny, but it was so funny.
It kind of took my breath away. And then I came up and I was like, I feel so alive right now.
It's so amazing. But then we were like dying laughing.
Stop laughing. 10 minutes of laughing. And any chance we had of being inconspicuous was gone. Like we were hysterically laughing.
It was so good.
It felt really good. It was cathartic.
It really was.
I couldn't not do it again.
I know.
After that. Then I was like, okay, now I have to do this every time.
Yeah. It's, I find it's what you said at the beginning, bringing things to the sea, and there's a merge that happens, and there's some, the nighttime naked man there's something to that. And I just find that that things are pulled from me, but also given to me. And the word osmosis is so strong for me right now. I feel like that's happening a lot in my life. And that's part of what I feel happens those nights in the sea. There's an osmosis happening. And, in our last swim, I just felt so charged. And I always do. There's this charge. I get charged with, I don't know what that is. It feeds something in me and it brings something out in me, and it strengthens us somehow. And there's just so much that happens that we don't even know what's happening.
I love that osmosis term.
Yeah.
I think that is really poignant. That's what it feels like. It's an exchange.
Yes, there's an exchange.
There is like on a cellular level, there's osmosis happening with the salinity of the water in our bodies.
Yeah.
But that energetic or that spiritual side.
I feel like the sea, I feel like the ocean, like what the ocean kind of gets from me, from you, from us, is fun. I feel like there's this like playfulness that happens with the ocean. I feel like the sea likes that I do this. It's almost like it does. It feels osmosis. It's like, you silly girls out swimming naked and why? Oh my God, this is so much fun. Oh God, the guys on the dock, on the pier, there were a bunch of guys fishing on the pier. Like, they have got themselves a show tonight. We don't know what they could have seen, but there's a playfulness about it too, that my experience and my kind of woo-woo side, I feel like the ocean likes this. This is an honoring in ways as well. It's about me and it's about what I'm getting. It's about you and about what you're getting and what we're giving in terms of like letting go of stuff. But I feel like what the ocean gets is some love and playfulness and that side of things, which just feels good and right to me.
Mm. Where else have you done this? If you want to disclose,
Yeah.
you don't have to share
No, I can. I
everywhere.
totally can.
How does location change the experience for you?
Yes, and when I travel to the Santa Cruz area, seems like frequently lately. So always there, and I've got the spot there that we go to, and I'll go by myself. I love to, that's part of my own when I'm down there, what I do. Um, and also growing up, I in my time with my friends, we skinny dipped a lot. So this has been a thing I've done really my whole life. But yeah, I've done a lot of skinny dipping and a lot of swimming at night naked. So I can't even tell you where I've done it all the way, but I know what you're getting to. And so my recent kind of bigger swim was in Ireland. It's in Ireland, and that one was, yeah, it was different. It was different. It actually didn't feel as playful. Now that I'm, riffing on the playful thing, it didn't feel as playful. It felt very, very quiet and heavy, but not in a bad way or how we think of heavy. It was a good heavy. It was like a strong heavy. It was like just something substantial. It's hard to explain. It felt heavy and solid and real and kind of important and substantial, somehow substantial, that word
Mm.
about it. But there weren't a lot of waves. It was a quieter, it was like a cove kind of thing. And it was outside of Dingle, and I was staying in a old farmhouse on the Dingle Peninsula. And so it was the beach near the house that I was staying at. And I'd gone to the beach during the day to kind of scope it out, right? Just because I wanted to pick my spot. And I had to walk a little bit out. It was kind of shallow. It was very calm. The water was very calm. And yeah, it was, and I stayed out for a while. I stayed out in the sea for a little bit too. It wasn't an in and out thing. I stayed out and kind of swam around for a
Was the
while.
water very cold compared to this
Yeah,
area?
me and you, we freeze. I
Yeah.
freeze. It was not as cold as you would think in Ireland. The water was surprisingly warmer. I was cold, but I was okay. And I just expect that. But then you know how it is. You get out and you're actually warmer.
Hmm.
There's something about it, you just get really warm. So I went out for a bit and then came back in and then I went out again. I feel like I always go in at least twice. There's something for me about the first is one thing and then the second or after that third or whatever, something else. And so I went in twice. And the first time I was in there for a bit, a little bit. Yeah,
Mhm.
it was amazing. And it was really windy out, which was very interesting too. It's very interesting.
Do you know what phase of the moon it was when you went out?
Oh,
Mm.
I will look it up. I can go back on my
That's
calendar
true. Yeah.
and look it up and see what it
That's the
was.
neat thing
Um,
about lunar
yeah,
calendars. You could look at any
yeah,
time in the history and know what the phase of the moon was. I asked that because the new moon is that time of intention setting,
yeah,
looking ahead, and then full moon is release,
yeah.
so that I set my intention to going into the next new moon cycle. Yeah. I want to go back to mermaids. I touched on what this mythical creature represents for me. Is there anything more that it represents for you? Or are there other creatures, mythical or non mythical, that have this kind of mystical pull for you?
Yeah.
And given your work, especially as a transformation guide, how might that come into play? Lots of ways we could go with
I
this
love this
question.
question. I love it. So I feel like the mermaid is probably my one and only. And I when I decided to come into this work, I was actually at my niece's wedding outside of Cancun, Mexico, and I was snorkeling in the ocean with my sister, and we were both having this moment of like, being so grateful that we grew up in Southern California when we did in our beach life. And we both we looked at each other and we're like, we're mermaids. We said this to each other.
I
And I
love it.
always been said, but it's something in that moment. And also on that trip, I decided I was going to leave my work and come into this. So it was a very big, there's a lot happening for me on that trip, just in terms of like my decision and everything. And so there's something in that. And then we were like diving down in the water and, all the fish and being mermaids. And here we are in our 60s, right? Playing mermaid girls in the ocean. It's so much fun. Yeah. So, and I always joke when people say, "What's your heritage?" I'm like, I'm Irish, I'm a mutt basically, and I'm 50% mermaid. I just
I
say,
love it.
I just say that. I feel it. I feel very connected. I feel like a mermaid and connected to the work. One of the things that one of the powers that I have is that I can see in the dark. And that for me, diving deep with people and staying there, that's what I do. That's what I love. I've always loved that. I've always like loved diving in, going deep and staying there.
Yeah.
And so without even like before that whole all that imagery and what I do came to me, like the mermaid has been the constant, but I think of mermaids and that's what they can do, right? They can dive deep and
They
stay
go to
down.
the depths. Yeah.
But got that human quality, but also the siren, right? I also like the darker side of the mermaid, the lure and that kind of, yeah, the darker side of it too appeals to me. And all of it, I feel like all of it is powerful, even the heavier, darker side of things that people may think are bad or whatever. I think that all of that is very powerful. But yeah, the seeing in the dark, the staying down there, the deep dive, and my work, that's what I call
Yeah. What a beautiful connection to make.
all the language that I use in my work really aligns with the same concept. And I think of like the women throughout time that have swam in the new moon naked, 1,000 years ago. Like this isn't new. And even in my 20s, it's interesting what comes to mind. I had one of my closest friends who lives down there. We were at this Maine Healing Arts Festival that we used to go to, and we were skinny dipping at night. And we did this whole ceremony for her where we unbaptized her. She resented being
Oh,
baptized as an infant when she couldn't say she wanted to be
mhm.
baptized. So we did this whole thing, and I think this group of women were naked. We're like in this lake and the moon. I mean, it was fantastic. So this stuff it's always been. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So we unbaptized her.
That's amazing. I've
Just
never
the
heard of that before, but I think
right?
that
Yeah.
might track with people.
Yeah, we walked her backwards out of the water. We were just talking about it. I would kind of forgot about it, and when I was down there, this last
Mhm.
time, we remembered that, and I can't remember. I think we like painted our bodies. I don't remember what it was, but I remember her walking backwards out of the water. That was like undoing
That was the symbolization.
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Where I think I want to head next is that ancestral component. For as long as people have come together, in particular women, our cycles align with the phases of the moon. The moon is aligned with feminine energy. I know that we didn't get a chance to speak on this in the initial episode, but a lot of the work that you do is ancestral or collective work. This seems like a really good segue to open that door and explore, what does this mean? Somebody might be like, I don't even know, what is ancestral work? What is collective work?
Yeah. It's kind of inevitable, I think, for most people, and the way that it's the way that it comes through me now, it's almost like I can't help it. And there was a time in my life where I abandoned I didn't believe in any of that. I rejected so much of what I had believed in. And it was a good chunk of years. And then coming back into it and through this work, specifically through this work. So, and really like the last 5 years, I feel like I don't have a choice
Mm.
about the ancestral connection, the collective. it comes through me now. And most of my clients in their deep dive journeys, and even not deep dive, have that element. The mushrooms access that, I believe, but it's almost like I can't ignore it. And I feel, and I've told you this, I feel like an instrument. I'm thinking the client I had this last weekend, and this happens every time. It's I channel stuff. My client will be in the medicine and stuff is just like coming through me, and I write it down, or if I'm called to action, I'll do the things that I'm asked to do or told to do. And I call in dead people before my work. I've got the client I had this weekend. This was all very new to him. This is not the world he comes from. And I've got my little different bottles of ashes of different people. And so I pull them out and I can see he's like, okay,
Like, oh, what did I sign up for?
people here. Okay. And calling it in, actually connecting with that and realizing, and I think of one of my clients, we are them, or us, that collective, the connections are there if we want to feel it and allow it and cultivate it. And so some of that, I feel like as you open to it, it just starts to come.
Backing up a little bit for someone that this terminology may be foreign to them. When you say collective, could you give an outline of what that means to
Yeah.
you?
So this is kind of a conglomeration of some of the various definitions. For me, it's everyone, everything that's gone before us. And what I've come to in this work, and in where I am in my life developmentally, and what I've experienced, I feel like that collective, within that collective, we are in different streams almost of types.
Mm-hmm.
Like I have been this type before, and I know it. Like I feel this connection really to powerful women and persecuted women, outspoken women, rule breakers, disruptors. That's been, and helpers. That's been the stream that I have been tumbling through. And so the collective, it's everybody, it's all of it. And
Yeah.
it's all that's come before us and what's in front of us too. It's also the future.
I'm getting a really cool visual I want to share. We were just talking about the power of the ocean.
Yeah.
I'm envisioning the collective as this huge oceanic body
Yes.
of energy. And then it comes down through deltas into rivers, from rivers into streams, from streams into springs. It's
Yeah.
all coming from the same source. And during certain lifetimes, we distribute through different streams. Do you feel that there's crossing of streams in a lifetime?
I think that there can be, but I think mostly we are a type.
Mhm.
Mostly we are a type. And I say that I got that really clearly when I was in Ireland. I was there a few months ago, and I got that really clearly there. My client this last weekend had the most phenomenal experience. He's still making sense of it, but part of it is this, it's like eternity, right? What's the definition of eternity? And it's that energy, it's that collective. It's like when you're not here doing the life, where are you? It's eternity. So it's all mushed together. And even through that, there are specific, I feel like, connections and drop down points for
Yeah.
people.
Thank you. I think that's really helpful, especially for someone that this kind of talk is hard for them to wrap their heads around if it's new, right?
Yeah.
How does that connect to ancestral work? So we know we're all from this shared
Yeah.
space. And when you call in ancestors, I've also heard some people refer to it as spirit team, guides,
Angels, you can call it whatever.
angels, ascended masters. I've heard it called a million
Yeah.
different things, but the meaning is all inherently the same.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
energy of those that have gone before
Okay.
and
And
their knowledge.
yeah. energy and wisdom.
Mm.
So again, my experience has shown me and told me that there's a few things, right? There's one of the arenas is our bloodline. What I carry in my blood and my bones and in my body, right? What our DNA. That's one track. That's our bloodline ancestry. Our grandparents, great grandparents, blah, 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 all of that, what that is and where that is. And then there's the everything, the collective. And we carry our family's trauma, right? We carry
Most
that in,
definitely.
right? We all know about this, right? So we carry that. And so that's where for me, like, I think I have this ridiculous fear of rodents.
It's okay. I feel that way about spiders.
Yeah. And some of it's like, what the heck? Or, people that have these random fears where there wasn't a specific trauma that would have caused such a thing. And or these aptitude, like certain things where you're like, where does that, how can this even be? So some of that I feel like comes through our bloodline, comes
Mm.
through our DNA. And it does, we know that. But then I think that there are some people that are vehicles to process trauma of the times, the hard stuff and the good stuff that isn't just their bloodline, but it comes through them, through and out. And especially now, I think that people are realizing that they are that kind of an instrument
Mm.
where, and I'm thinking of another client where that clearly happened in her journey, where this trauma was coming through her, but it was not her trauma. It was
Interesting.
bloodline that she processed so much. And I feel some of that too. I feel like some of what I know that some of the stuff that's processed through me, and because of the work that I was drawn to, it's not mine. It is not my experience. And yet it comes through and out. And it's so important that's happening,
Mm.
right? We are clearing as we can, clearing and letting go of things
Yeah.
so that we can move forward maybe as civilized beings, right?
Unrelated, but also related. I was working with an individual who was doing a reading for me. We were doing an ancestral reading, and that was what this
Mhm.
individual shared, was that here is this ancestral trauma, for lack of a better word, and you are the generation, you have something you can do about it. You can do something about it right now. It was very specific, even what the action was I had to take, but that it could stop.
Yeah.
It could stop. It doesn't have to continue anymore. That's
Yeah.
powerful stuff.
Especially as women. But it's like now, especially, and then the divine masculine too, like the men that are in the know and that are, they get it. There are men that get it. And especially that kind of thing, that assignment that you have around being one of those people that does that. Yes, yes. And the flip side to that is it's the trauma, but it's also the lightness and the fun and the goodness too. And that's where things like swimming naked in the ocean at night, that kind of thing, we tend to focus on the trauma side of everything, but the other side is absolutely as important, if not,
Yeah. The
right?
rituals,
The
the
life.
traditions. What comes to mind for me is oration, the storytelling. We know that Indigenous people, that's how they've passed down everything, their ancestry, their family lineage, but also their traditions. Oration and storytelling was so vitally important to us as a species, and maintaining rituals and the sanctity of that. It gets lost. Think of today. It's hard to get my two teenagers, my toddler, myself, and my husband to sit down and have dinner all together. And that's an incredibly important
Yeah,
ritual for us.
absolutely.
But
Which is a really good point, Vanessa, because I think that one of the things that we can do for ourselves and the world is to slow down.
yeah,
Is to slow it all down. Feel the pause and just slow down and quiet down.
yeah,
So powerful.
yes.
So,
Learning to sit in that quiet space by yourself.
Yeah. Or even not even by yourself, slow down with your family. Yeah, just like slow down.
I recently had a Sunday like that
Mhm.
where I found myself okay with being home, not working. I wasn't creating content. I wasn't coaching. I said, it's okay. I'm going to stay home. We're just
Yeah,
going to be home.
lug around.
I felt so refreshed.
It's something. And I feel like it's more key than we realize. And it links to we talked a little bit about this, but how I traveled in Ireland when I was there in May. And it was a new experience to me because in my place in my life, I get to slow down much more easily than you do. My children are they're grown. I live alone. I can do whatever I want. So, I
Someday I'll get there.
I was in mom land too. So I know, yeah, right. Slow down. Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
Let's talk about Ireland. I have been dying for you to share because I know on a personal level how pivotal
It was.
it was, like a
It was
pivotal
trans
spiritual
it was
pilgrimage for you.
transformational.
Yes. What's on your
Well,
heart about it?
the thing that I did from the second I landed was I didn't plan. I just followed. And so I was by myself. And I mean, I had the places I was going to stay. I knew where I was going to be because I'm not going to be scampering around to find a place to sleep at night. Not doing that. So I knew where I was staying. I had rented, when I first got there, I was in Dublin. I didn't rent a car then, but when I left Dublin, rented a car and went to different places. But the way that I moved through that trip and moved through my days was following whatever lead came to me. I didn't plan. I would leave and just go, see where I went and see who I met. And that in itself was so powerful to not have an agenda.
To back up even before that, so listeners understand, why did you go to Ireland?
Because well, I wanted to go, but I did my DNA and I found out that I was 48% Irish. And I knew I was Irish, but I didn't know I was that much Irish. And so there was a piece, this genealogy, there was the ancestral piece that I was going for. And so it was really interesting what happened to me around that and the soul contract stuff and my family lineage and so much around Catholicism that came to me. So much came. So here's the thing, because I did not have an agenda. I really didn't have an agenda. I knew it was going to be big, but I was like, take me and lead me like we do in journey work. Just surrender.
Mhm.
I surrendered. I'm like, tell me, take me. I'm following your lead. Where do you want me to go? And that's what I would do. So what I got while I was there, like a mushroom journey, was not what and I wasn't even trying to think of what I was going to get, but I could not have planned. I could not have anticipated what happened to have happened because I went in literally with nothing, nothing. And so it was enormous. And as you know, when I came back, I was pretty destabilized for a while.
Yeah.
I had a hard time getting my feet back under me.
Yeah.
There was so much to integrate, right? Back to this language of this work. It was,
Mhm.
mushrooms are one way, but man, we can have so many other types of journeys that are potent and powerful. It was one of the most powerful experiences in my life
Oh
that
my gosh. Well, let's talk more about it. No plans, no itinerary, just showed up. What were you met with?
oh my goodness. So many things. There were themes and some of the, gosh, I'm not even, it's so big. So one of the things that was unexpected, I'll go with that, was my relationship with Catholicism, which I didn't even think I had stuff there. Really did not even, didn't even, it hasn't really been a thing. My paternal line, my father's bloodline is the Irish, he's the Irish side. And he was in theory, pretty devout Catholic. He did go to mass, not all the time, but he carried it, right? My parents were divorced. He never remarried because Catholics don't do that. I think
Mm.
that right. So he was definitely a Catholic. Um, And I've always been drawn to religious art, super strong pull to all religious art, but do love some crucifixes. I liked that. And I would, and when I travel, and there's a beautiful church, I love to go in and see beautiful churches and just sit there and take it all in. I always had this pull. And I would go to mass here and there. And so it was just this little sprinkling of this is lovely. And I liked the ritual of it. I liked the ritual when I would go to mass. I also poo-pooed it. I was like, this is cute. And I love it too. It was this mix of, yeah, I know
Yeah.
that you are Catholicism. So don't you think
Yeah.
I'm buying it hook, line, and sinker,
Yeah.
right? So there was this little bit of a, yeah, I get you, but I can still appreciate the beauty and the ritual. So while I was there, the first day that I took off. I got there early in the morning and couldn't get into they held my luggage and I just wandered. I just took off and I ended up at this church and I explored around it. And then I left and then I found that I was lost. And I wasn't worried about being lost, but I really didn't know where I was. And you got a phone, you can get back to the hotel. Like
Oh,
it's
yeah.
so, but I was into getting lost. Like I just wanted to wander and then just not know where I was. So here I am lost again. I'm like, God, I'm lost. But I didn't take out my phone. And kept going. I ended up back at that damn church again.
Huh.
So yeah, so that was interesting. And then I've written some of this that night. I think it was that night. It might have been the next night, but that night, no, it was that night. It was the day I got there. I had, I got into my hotel, dumped my stuff, and then I was going to go out and get some dinner. And I was trying to stay up till 8 p.m. before I went to sleep because jet lag and all of that. I'm like,
Yeah.
just stay up till 8. It'll be better. So I'm like, okay, eat food, wander around. So I ate food, wandering around. I'm in this area that's not very busy. It was pretty quiet. And it was probably 6:37 at night. And there's this gorgeous Mother Mary statue on the backside of this church. And so it's the backside of a church and kind of like a little parking area. I don't know if it maybe used to be where a little convent was or something, but some officey looking things. So I go back into this area to look at this beautiful Mother Mary statue. And I'm sitting there looking at this, and these gates slam shut behind massive, like 14-foot iron. And the sound was like a clunk, clunk, clank.
Yeah.
And I whip around and I'm like, oh shit. And so I'm like, I'm gonna have to climb that. Okay, how am I gonna do like, oh my God, there's nobody around.
They must have been on a timer.
Or something.
Okay.
But I had this familiar feeling. That's what,
Mm.
man, I'm like, oh, okay. Okay.
In that moment, you felt that.
Yeah, I was
And you
like,
recognized that
yeah, I
feeling.
was like, what the hell? Okay.
Huh.
I wasn't scared. It was more like shit. It was more like
Mhm.
I fell for it. That's
Yeah.
what it was like, God damn it.
Yeah.
So I go over there to see if there's some kind of a way to there's no way to open this gate. There was like nothing. There's no handle. And so I'm thinking, Jesus, I'm glad I'm strong. I'll get over it. Like I will get over this thing. Do it. But I'm looking around and there's no cars, nobody's walking around. And then I look to the little office areas and I see a light on in one of the offices. And so I go over there and I go to knock on the door. And as soon as I put my hand up to knock, I hadn't even knocked yet, the door opens.
Eh.
And this man is right there. And we had the strangest exchange. I'm locked in and I don't want to have to climb that. And he's like, oh no, you don't want to do that. And it was just the weirdest exchange. It was like,
Was that all you said to each other?
yeah, it was just like this
There
weird.
was no pleasantries like, hi, I'm visiting. I'm from the United States. I got
No,
locked
no,
in. It was
no.
literally
It was
just,
just like this weird thing. And I scared the shit. When he opened the
uh-huh.
door, he jumped.
Yeah.
He was like leaving or something. I don't know what he was doing. He didn't have anything with him, but I scared him when he opened the door. He didn't expect to see me. And I didn't
Mm.
I was like, oh, and he was like, ah, and like, I got the gates shut. I'm locked in here, and I don't want to, I don't want to. He's like, no, you don't want to do that. So anyhow, we walk we didn't talk. We had very few words. And he goes over, and there was a keypad, which I hadn't seen, which I wouldn't know the coding here. So he punches in a thing, gates open, I leave. But the way that that experience sat with me
Yeah.
was so interesting, and it felt so familiar, and it felt like something.
Do you think it felt like ancestral something or collective something?
It felt like I knew this.
Mm.
And it felt connected to Catholicism and me being trapped
Mm.
and me escaping somehow or getting out of something. And because I wasn't scared, I had more of a, damn it, I got tricked. I felt like I had let my guard down a little bit and got tricked. That's what it felt like to me. And so as my time in Ireland continued, I had more things around Catholicism happen and more interactions and meetings with people. So that church that I had come to, the next day I went back to it and I met this woman there. We ended up talking for hours, the most devout Catholic I've ever experienced. But she had come to that church to pray for this woman named Margaret Ball, who was buried in this church. And I so resonated with Margaret Ball too, who was definitely a persecuted woman who had an underground railroad for priests. Basically, when England came in, they were rounding up the priests and killing them, sending them into slavery, and she was helping priests escape. And her son, who was rising in power, didn't like what she was doing, so he imprisoned his mother.
Were they practicing the same Catholicism as
Older
modern day?
Right. That was the older
Okay.
Catholicism. Yeah. It was,
Okay.
there was more spirituality, there was more mysticism back then. And so, and right. So this was semi what we know of Catholicism now, but definitely an older version. But this guy, Margaret Ball's son, imprisoned her for 4 years
Mm.
in the Dublin castle. And she was in this tiny cell in a basement. She had really, really advanced arthritis. And the woman that I met, Maria, that the Catholic that I ended up talking to for 2 hours, she told me that that her son had had her dragged through Dublin behind a horse, and that's how she was killed. That her son, and then, but I Googled it, and what Google said was that she just died of starvation
Mm.
in cell. But the point is, her son
Yeah. Still imprisoned by her
did
son.
to his mother. So that's when this stream of how people are through time came
Mm.
about that man and some connections I made to other people of that stream. That was when it really came into me uh,
Mm.
about that part. But throughout my time in Ireland, I met devout Catholics and people that had completely rejected Catholicism, and heard just from people what Catholicism has done, which we all know. We know a lot of it. And so one of the current events that happened right when I was there towards the end, there's this woman who was a kind of a hobbyist historian, and she had come to this conclusion, this idea that there were some people missing, about little under 800 babies and children, that they had birth certificates but no death certificates, and they were wondering what happened to this whole group of infants and children that were born at a home for unwed mothers. So she was sleuthing, and now it's a big thing in the media there. So
What was the time period?
this was in the 30s.
1930s. Okay.
It was the 30s or 40s, maybe a little bit later, somewhere in there. And this home for unwed mothers run by the church, they disposed of almost 800 infants and children into a decommissioned septic system. So now they're unburying all of this 800, and in the name of the church. But then what I get, so this is where I go with that. So the church, yes, bad, blah, 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 all of that. But what I come from that is no, it's the individual. We can blame the church. We can say the Catholic Church, and it's an institution, and we can say all these institutions are bad, but it really comes down to the individual. And I thought if I were one of those nuns at that home for unwed mothers, I would not have killed any babies or children. If they would have told me to, I would have told them to go fuck themselves. You can kill me if that's what it's going to be. I am not doing
Right.
that. And that's where it comes down to. Yes, we can say bad church, bad whatever, military, bad this, but it comes down to the individuals.
Individual accountability.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those different streams that
Right.
people are in.
That's right. And some people don't have the strength to be like, oh, hell no, I'm not doing that.
Mm,
And we see that today.
we do. Yeah.
How can people be doing what they're doing? They're
Yeah.
following orders? Oh, come now. You do not get to get off that easily.
No.
So
And
that was in there too. It's like, yes, Catholic Church, blah, blah, blah. But it's like these people that were running that home.
yeah, what I'm seeing come up again and again is that you were faced with these heavy realities of how some people are,
Yep.
and they don't get a pass
No.
for choosing to be that way.
No.
We have talked previously about soul contracts.
Yeah.
How does this concept play into soul contracts? Again, if you're someone that this language is very new to, Pam, how would you describe what a soul contract is?
Again, my
Yeah,
interpretation.
your interpretation.
So it's good to like look at them and then pick what resonates for you. But for me, it's exactly that. It's like the people or whatever, the beings, the energies that you have some repetition with throughout time and family, right? I think of that with my family. And one of the things that happened in terms of soul contracts for me there was this, or institutions, I felt severing with Catholicism that
Mhm.
happened very clearly. I don't know that I'll ever step foot in a Catholic church again. This is what I came to. And
It's almost like an energy contract,
it can be,
right?
yeah, it's an energy contract, but it's like, yeah, maybe, but I also think that at some point when you have at least for me, this is me, I have a realization. I had this knowing about some contracts that I've had going for a really long time that I was like, oh, I see. I see what that was about. What do I need to do to finish my side of this?
Yeah.
What needs to happen for me to finish my side of this? I'd like to finish this. And I felt like a lot of that happened for me in Ireland. And even with Catholicism as a whole, for me, I feel severed there. I feel cut, I feel done. I didn't even know I had that much there. Amount of experiences connected to Catholicism I had there and the people that I met was just wild. And I felt this is an interesting thing that I felt almost like, which is very interesting word, so warning, I almost felt revenge,
Hmm.
which is not something I have experienced really in my life. I never really have felt revenge about things.
What did you feel it towards?
I felt it kind of in general about, well, about Catholicism and about and these streams of terrible people. And not that I had to act on anything, but to experience that feeling was really interesting. And this thing about being a woman, so Margaret Ball, the one that was imprisoned by her son, I felt something for her, man. I sat next to her grave for a really long time. This woman, Maria, that I met, she prayed to her regularly. And the power that I felt with Maria, this live woman now, who she and I, we recognized each other. She and I recognized each other when we saw each other. And so there was something with Margaret Ball in there. So that I felt not closure there, but opening.
That's a great distinction to make. It's not that soul contracts or something closing. It can
Not
also be
necessarily.
something
Yeah.
opening.
Yeah.
Like my definition, one that resonated with me was individuals and their energy, that you have something to learn from each other. And you just keep crossing energetic paths, soul
Yeah.
paths, until that lesson, whatever that particular theme is or themes
Yeah.
are finally closed.
Yeah. Or, and this is what I got too, Vanessa, or until, like, for me, I'm seeing things. I'm like, I don't want this anymore. I'm done.
Yeah.
And that was new for me. Because there's some I'm like, I don't want this anymore. So if there's something else I need to do, you better tell me real quick because I don't want that. Like, and I don't want the ties to Catholicism that I ended up having that I didn't even know I had. I don't want those anymore. I want to be done with that. And the revenge piece in there, I actually think is healthy because we're so afraid of that. I was so afraid of that. I like that word.
Even though it identifies like what revenge should feel like, there was no action,
No.
right? It was your
Yeah.
awareness of your truth, your reality that was enough to create this feeling of, I know what's up now.
I know it's up now. And there's a price to pay for being horrible.
Mhm.
That's where the revenge comes into. We think that we have to evolve into this all love thing, right? Where
Yeah.
just rise above it, be forgiving. No, no. We think that to be good people and to be spiritually evolved, that we need to be forgiving, one love, rise
Love
above.
and light, don't hold anything.
Yeah. And that you
Mhm.
can like, no,
Mhm.
sometimes there's a cost to being a horrible human. There needs to be a price. You need some accountability more than accountability. We don't
Yeah.
forget some of those things. And even like the people that killed those babies and children in Ireland, 800 infants and children, and dumped them in a sewer and hid them. No, they don't get, it's okay. They don't get forgiveness for that.
Coming back from this trip and all of this, there was so much intensity. And it took a long time to let everything settle. I know we had many conversations following, and you're not there yet. The snow globe is still shooken up a little bit. Eventually, it settled. And I can tell energetically when we speak, when we've had conversations more recently, that it's like, okay, Pamela's
Yeah.
back at baseline. The dust is settled. The snow globe is not shook up anymore. How do you feel different now?
I learned so much. I feel like I understand, even like soul contracts and the streams of existence. And I felt what I got was a lot of closure about some things, which was
Mhm.
interesting. Didn't set out for that. And I feel like my view is wider. And I feel like my capacity is more. And what's happening in my work with my clients is bigger. It's bigger. And some of it's a little, I'm having to shift the frequency of what I do. And so I'm heading into a break time. I'm going to need to take significant chunks of time where I'm not doing deep dive work because that osmosis, like it's so much.
That's from dialing up the intensity of this channeling and these interactions and the ancestors and the energy you're pulling in from the collective. Everything just feels
Everything is more.
amplified.
Yep.
It's
And
almost like you cleared a bunch of debris. If it was glass that was all fogged over and dirty, layer of scum from years and years, it's all wiped. And now the radiance,
yep.
the power is so palpable that it makes sense that when you would be working with a client and exchanging, taking on theirs and giving them some of you, that you would probably need to do that less frequently so that you can recover after each
Yeah.
session.
And my clients are having bigger experiences too, which is interesting.
That is.
That they didn't before, but I feel like there's a progression that's happened with me. And it's definitely coming into the container that we're creating for this work. And yeah, it's something. And I yeah, and then I'm leaving in 2 weeks to go back to
I
Ireland.
know. So you have another trip planned.
I'm
But
going back.
we'll round out this conversation by talking about that. Can you just maybe tell
Yeah.
me and the listeners, where are you going? What are you doing?
Yeah.
What do you
So,
think is going to happen?
oh my God, I have no idea what's going to happen. I told you this earlier this week. I feel like I had a client last weekend and now I'm in my preparation phase for this trip. And I needed to go back to Ireland. I needed to go back again now. And I'm going to a whole different area. So while I was there, my last name used to be McCarthy. That's my father's, my
Okay.
and I met this, and so in my DNA thing, my family was from the Sligo area, which is in the northwest coast, that chunk up there. And when I was up there, I met this guy named Thomas McCarthy. And he was fishing on a bridge, and we ended up having this great conversation. He's like, "You got to go to Cork. That's where the McCarthys are." He's like, every third. So anyhow, this is part of why I'm going there. Was this guy Thomas? So I feel like I am now turning towards this trip and opening to, again, I'm going to do what I did last time and just go. And I'm going to a different area. And then there's a guy that I'm trying to connect with that has a Celtic shamanism school there. So when I was there last time, I had a reading with this guy up in Sligo.
Oh, I
He's
just
like,
got goosebumps, Pam.
yeah. It's like, you've got to meet this man. So we've
Yes.
some he's really hard to catch. So I don't know if it will happen. So anyhow, I've got that guy I want to meet, and then this two general areas I'm going to. But I'm going for a month, not in Ireland the whole time. I'm going to be in Ireland, then Greece, and then I'm going back to Morocco, which is another place that I am super drawn to. I've been there before, and
Mm,
it's very powerful for me there too. So I'm going to be gone for a month this time.
wow.
And I'm going to write and paint and be.
Yes. For all listeners, if you don't know, Pam has a Substack account and she publishes a lot of her written word there. It will absolutely give you pause, make you think. Go check it out. So a month and you leave in 2 weeks.
Weeks from today.
Okay. We'll put a pin in all of this because when you return, I would love for us to do another episode. I know our listeners are going to want to know, what did you learn? What did you discover? It's an extraordinary pilgrimage. This is just an evolution of what started in May.
Absolutely is.
Oh
Yeah.
my gosh.
Amazing.
As always, Pam, I'm so grateful for your time and energy and your wisdom. And thank you for sharing today with everybody.
Thank you for
And
the
we
opportunity and for your lovely, beautiful self.
Oh, thank you, Pam. All right. I'm going to sign us off now.
Okay. Bye.
Bye. Thank you for listening to today's episode. I hope you found it interesting, actionable, and worthy of sharing. You can help contribute to this growing community by emailing topic ideas, suggestions for interviews, and feedback to Vanessa at squatsandseances.com. That's Vanessa with an E at squatsandseances.com. You can find new episodes of Squats and Seances on all major podcast platforms and the vlogcast on our YouTube channel, Squats and Seances. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode and leave us a review if you are enjoying the content. Season 1 will be drawing to a close on October 31st. Visit us at squatsandseances.com and subscribe to our newsletter. While there, you can also check out our weekly blog posts on all ways to optimize your health and fitness. Follow us on social media at Squats and Seances on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, LinkedIn, and YouTube. And until next time, stay gritty, friends.